for tuning in. My name is Katie Petrunyak, and I am the associate producer of the Thoroughbred Daily News. I'm joined today by a very impressive group of women that make up the planning committee for the inaugural Horse Racing Women's Summit that's going to take place next month at Santa Anita. It's September 28th through the 30th. And I have with me today Stephanie Hronis, Jordan Egan, Kelly Hill, Jody Vella-Gregory, Shona Rotundo, and Sophie Eggert. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to talk with you guys because I just learned about the summit. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I was out to dinner with a big group of friends and all women who work in the industry. And there were several of them who already have their ticket booked to California, and they're telling the rest of us, like, you need to get on this and you need to come out here. So when I first got connected with you guys, it's a perfect opportunity for me to learn more. And so I guess that'll be my first question. Just for someone like me, could you tell me a bit about what this Horse Racing Women in Racing Summit is all about?
Yeah, I'll kick that off. And yeah, thank you again for having us. We're really excited to be bringing this inaugural Women's Summit. Just a little bit of an overview. As you mentioned, it's Wednesday, September 28th. We're kicking it off. It's just going to be like a welcome reception, a networking event. We actually have in-and-out cocktail, champagne, and just sort of a place for people to come and interact with speakers and other maybe racing celeb type guests. And then Thursday is the sort of the meat of our summit. So that's when we'll have our keynote speaker, our 3 panels, a luncheon with another speaker, and then another event to cocktail and network and just have a lot of interaction with the different speakers and attendees. And then on the Friday morning, Christina Blacker with TPG FanDuel, she's going to be doing a handicapping seminar, just sort of going over anyone that's interested in learning how to handicap and bet, and we'll go over the weekends at Breeders' Cup Win and Urine races at Santa Anita. So Friday is also like the opening day of Santa Anita, so our attendees are also offered complimentary box seats if they wanted to stay throughout the weekend as well, which I'd encourage them to do because it'll be a really fun weekend. I think what it's about, though, it's just sort of designed to sort of empower, connect, remove barriers, build leadership, and it's really for anyone that's like interested in pushing the industry forward. Sort of ready to discuss not only how to overcome challenges, but also how we can identify like how we can grow racing and like growth opportunities. So I think this group, we saw it as a place for leaders, future leaders, or any like industry participants that maybe want a voice or a seat at that like elusive table. This is sort of like a catalyst to start conversations, bring people together, and people that want to see racing succeed.
Yeah, I love what you said about it's just for a little bit of everybody. Like it's all across the board and anyone is invited. So that's really cool to just have so many different voices in it. Stephanie, as I understand it, you were kind of the vision behind the whole thing. How'd you come up with the whole idea?
Well, it started last summer. We had our TOC, Thoroughbred Owners of California. We had a luncheon for women for the first time at the Del Mar track. And just the response was huge. Seeing women come together and that synergy and the opportunity to network, there was such a good energy and we sold out tickets quickly. And so from there, thought about it a little bit more. What are we going to do next? And so our team got together and it's like, well, let's maybe do a summit. And so we sent out a survey, and between the reaction from the luncheon and then from our survey, the huge wave of interest and want, it was like, okay, there's something big that we're tapping into. It's kind of like tapping into a sleeping giant. And from there, that's how Shona came on board, Catherine Sharp also. So that was really exciting to see the interest from Kentucky, the East Coast, wanting something to happen, hearing from men also. So that also helped to energize this. Men saying it's about time. Even yesterday at the Pacific Classic draw, there was a track executive that came up and was like, I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. This is amazing. It's about time. We really need this in the industry. And so what started out as a vision for bringing women together has really grown into this movement of a summit, bringing people together from within the industry and also outside of the industry, which you can see with our panelists. It's really exciting. And our keynote, Susan Packard coming in, super exciting, amazed. And this team of women, this is great. I love us being together and seeing everyone works really hard. Up to 2 days a week we're meeting, and it's like fasten your seatbelt Zoom meeting every time. There's a lot of work going into this. Appreciate everyone.
That's so cool. Yeah, you guys have a powerhouse crew. I love it. That's amazing. And I love what you said about how much feedback you've had already, and like you haven't even had the inaugural event yet. Why do you guys think there has been such a need in the industry for something like this?
We all had a hunch last summer when we got together in Del Mar. And then that survey, again, like Stephanie said, just solidified it. But the feedback was very diverse. It was everything from, I want to become an owner and I'm intimidated, to I've been working in this industry for 20 years and I don't know what to do next. So I think that's where we sprang into action and then had to pause and say, okay, what are we going to do with this event that will help address, connect, and empower all the women in racing, so that regardless of where you are, this is a really great professional and personable development opportunity. Mentorship is something that's been very much a part of our discussion. Anise from Amplify Horse Racing is going to be a moderator, because we want that messaging and that to be part of our culture, the mentorship program that she's already launched. But also in reading Susan Packard's book, The New Rules of the Game book, it hit me as my aha really of this whole thing was, it's not just the mentorship, but it's also sponsorship. So that's kind of what this whole thing has become about now at this phase. We launch tickets and getting out there and saying, no, you need to be here. You need to be here to connect. We need to do this. This is all of us coming together and sponsoring women, whether it's you're a CEO sending women in your company or coming yourself, or whatever you're doing to demonstrate that next level of commitment to the women that you have in your ecosystem. So we want everybody to come be a part of that, because this is a catalyst for what will happen next. And we want to hand off some of this to people as they go back to their jobs.
I feel like we need a mic drop that right now.
That's why we had to do this interview, because this can't come across on a piece of paper or on a website. This group is, you just want to come hang out with, you just come hang out with us for a couple of years.
You're so awesome.
Hang out with us. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's true though. Your guys' energy is infectious.
Yeah. One of our core values is fun. So I think that's something that we've kept in mind too. And I like that came up and it's on the list, and it's something that we do. We do have fun too. And why wouldn't we want to do this?
Right. Yeah, that's important. And it's very true. Your guys is. Oh. No, go ahead. Sorry.
One of the things that Jordan has touched on, and when she talked about the sponsorship, and we talk about one of our pillars is removing the barrier, right? And and that was why I was like, well, what exactly? A lot of people are like, what exactly does removing the barrier mean, and why do you want to remove the barrier, and why is it so important? And as you look at business and horse racing, it's a $1 billion business that supports so many different facets. It's what they have found with so many different studies. Harvard Business Review, the London School of Business, is the more that you have gender equality, so the more that you have both men and women on teams, the profits go up, the innovation goes up, the efficiency goes up. So when we're saying we're removing barriers, it's so that we could get equal representation across the board in order to propel the whole industry up. Because if we're all innovating together, we're going to be able to predict where this industry is going together. And then how do we better get there together? How do we grow, as Jordan says, how do you grow these positions? How do you get more owners involved? How do you make a better experience for the backstretch? How do you make a better experience for the horse? So that's in a nutshell, like you said, that how really kind of dig into where does that removing the barrier come from, and what we're looking to do with this summit.
Yeah.
And
I think each of you in your response. Go, you're good.
I am so sorry. Just with the barriers part, what I think of is, as amazing as the horse racing industry is, and the history, how long it's been around, and just the incredible sport it is around the equine athletes, there's this piece to it where it's business as usual. And for myself coming in, I am new compared to a lot of people. I didn't grow up in it. And coming in as a curious person by nature and an observer to see, I started to realize that there's a lot of women in these really important roles, but you don't hear from them and you don't see them as often as the men. If somebody gets an award at any level, in any regard, in any facet, I've seen all of them. I don't hear a lot about the women who are a part of that journey for the person, if it's a male, or a lot of the credit goes to the men, which is great. I mean, they were working hard and they've deserved it. But I also know and see and hear there's a lot of women that are a part of that too, or doing equal work as well, and they're not getting noticed as much. And so I think that that's a barrier that can come up for women in the industry. And because it's been business as usual, people just don't realize it. And until you see it and pay attention to it, then it's easy to be oblivious to it. So hopefully this will catch people's attention and we could start to change things in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's like a mindset, I think that, just our initial plan, our vision for year one, like we just knew that this was needed and we got such an amazing response. We're also very understanding of the fact that we are a committee of just a few women, and who are we to say what's important and what's not? So we polled our community. We said, what do you guys want to talk about at this the inaugural event? And, we took their feedback, and that's what really drove the panel discussions. So a lot of people have asked, why should I come? What should I, what's going on here in the first, year? And I've said to a lot of businesses, including my own, invest in your women, send leaders in your organization who, are smart and capable and passionate, and they just eat, sleep, and breathe racing. And let's all get together and come up with some really actionable ideas. And we'll do a few this year, and we'll do a few more next year. And over time, we'll have something enormous and that we can kind of step away from and say, wow, look what inertia did, and look at all these women who came together were able to do together. So it's going to take a village for sure.
So Shona, you said something was interesting. Oh, so go ahead, Jody. I was just going to say, she said something interesting about going to the companies and invest in your women. And I'm an owner in the industry. I work in a completely different industry, and as I started in ownership here, I was like, as a businesswoman, I don't invest in anything unless I know about it, unless I know everything about it. And I want to and then as I got into horse racing, I quickly found out I don't know anything. And there's a lot to this industry. And there's a lot of connections, and there's a lot of smart people, as Stephanie have said, some incredibly talented people. And so that's what I see this summit as, and, not only for the women that are working, but also for even, if the owners are wanting to become owners in this industry, this is the opportunity. And then we know it will just continue to grow from here.
Yeah, I think just to build on that is sort of what I was going to say anyway. It's just you're creating this network of people, because horse racing, for as small as it is, it's so vast and it's so expansive. So it's just, we're creating a group of women that wherever they go, whatever aspect of racing they are, they're going to have someone that they're going to be able to reach out to. And how do I go further in this? How do I navigate this? And I think just even starting that process is going to be huge just from that aspect. But I did actually want to ask, so Sophia is part of our team. She's our youngest person on our team. She's going to school. She wanted to be a part of this. And I think it would be really interesting to hear why someone like Sophia wanted to be a part of this as well.
Yeah, I've grown up in the industry. My grandfather got involved. My parents are now involved, and they've done an amazing job of raising me in the industry and involving my siblings and I in every step of the way. So we do understand it. And the future is female. You're seeing it across all aspects of sports. And I think it's about time it happens in horse racing. And to be a part of this team, I learned so much from these women, and it is just an incredible experience, and I can't wait.
You wouldn't know she was the intern. She just jumped in the middle of our train moving, and she just has taken on projects and tasks right with everyone. She's been phenomenal.
It's been so much fun.
And it'd be so great to have anyone that is sort of starting out or just sort of getting their feet wet, to have someone like Sophia to like reach out, like, how did you get connected? How did you get involved? Like, I think the mentorship, the internships, everything like this, I think the future is female. We also have to, dedicate our time and effort into the next generations as well. And I think this summit is going to just be so like all encompassing.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that is unique with just women in our industry is, I mean, just from the people I've met, they will bend over backwards to help you once you've had a conversation with them. But I also think just in our industry, everyone is going a million miles a minute constantly, whether you're at sales or racing or what have you. So you don't really have time to do those one-on-one long conversations a lot of the time to make that connection. So just from what you guys are telling me, this is the perfect opportunity to do that type of networking and have those in-depth conversations that you can't really have a lot of other times.
Right. Stop, take a breath, have a
Yes.
conversation, discussion. And really, I mean, the goal is action out of this too. And one of the things that we are right now in the process of planning, in parallel with the summit itself,
In your free time.
yeah, exactly, is creating some opportunities for meetups. So just like small, low lift kind of opportunities to get together. Maybe maybe there will be, a speaker at a couple of these, we hope can kind of share a few words or share their story, but something, easy to accomplish. We can partner with some of the big races on the calendar. So, something around, maybe Breeders' Cup time, around Pegasus for sure, where, maybe you couldn't make it out to the summit, but we don't want to wait a whole year to keep, everyone connected. And so hopefully we'll have pop-up meetups throughout the year that people will be able to attend and, continue the work that we're laying the groundwork for in September.
That's awesome. I think each of you in each of your responses, you've said something about the word commitment, and it is a commitment for people and committees to send people to California. I mean, it's a busy time of year, but every time of year is busy in racing anyways. But why is it so crucial to you guys to have people from all facets of the industry and coming in from all different parts of the country?
Yeah, I think that was something that when I got the survey and from Jody, when they were kind of figuring out where to take things and how to grow the summit, I just called Jody. I was like, I need to be involved. What do I got to do? Knowing where it came from, I'm kind of the resident like East Coast voice. And so as we plan things, like I'll speak up and be like, well, that kind of has a West Coast bias. And I want to make sure this feels really balanced and well-rounded. And so I'm not afraid to kind of speak up and speak on behalf of this coast. But I think that we want this to be applicable to anyone in the industry and kind of not just because it's based in the West Coast. It's not just a West Coast thing. We understand that, travel and investment and getting people from the East Coast to the West Coast is it's tricky, right? But it's also an opportunity to challenge your company to invest in women. So, I'm the head of marketing at my racehorse, and I prepared a pitch to my CEO. And I said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to nominate, a couple of women to go. I think we should pay for everything, fly them out, regardless of whether they're on the West Coast or the East Coast. We need to develop these future leaders in racing. And so I would not take the location as an excuse not to go out there, not to push your company to give that opportunity to you. I know that, we'd love to send everyone at my racehorse. So I personally, as a manager, understand how difficult it is. Like, I would love to just send everyone out. But I think we encourage a lot of businesses, to invest in a few women this year, next year, send a few others, and over time be able to kind of, it could be, something on the calendar that everyone looks forward to. And, I hope I get the Women's Summit ticket this year. And I'm going to prove, why I should be the one to go. And, I think that it's something that is important to everyone on, regardless of where you're based. And we just want perspective from every person in the business. And we can't get that if it's only people who are involved in breeding, or if it's only people who are involved in, the ownership side. And I just think it's going to create like really well-rounded action moving, coming out of the summit. So that's what we hope for.
Yeah, I think the summit is a great conduit for what Shona is talking about, and it connects to what you said, Katie, about how difficult it is to be able to even have time to talk with each other. I know just being at the races, like you want to have a conversation, even seeing Jody sometimes or Kelly, it's like, oh, we're in the paddock. Like, okay, let's call each other. You know, it's hard to have more than like a 3 to 5 minute conversation at best. So it's a fantastic opportunity to network and conversate with others outside of your regular circle. It's going to be really exciting. And also, I think it's a great example of interacting outside of our racing jurisdictions, connecting us with other racing jurisdictions and going outside of our states to work together to help advance the sport. I think we're setting a really good example and a model of professional development that's fairly new to the industry. In other industries, business, education, you see it very commonplace where employers do send employees out of state. I have gone before to Washington, D.C., to Florida. Kelly's gone to many on the business real estate side in education. It's not uncommon that your employer will pay for your travel and pay for your registration. And so we're hoping that we're going to have a real successful time introducing this model to the racing industry and really encourage employers out there, send your employees like my racehorse is doing, like First Racing, the Stronach Group is doing as well.
Absolutely. I also saw, actually on the TDN just this week, there were some sponsors that you guys announced. Can you tell me about that and just overall how the industry has supported you guys in terms of sponsorship?
So Stephanie alluded to, I've been involved with conferences through my real world job, though this one feels like my real world job right now, with as much time as we've got going into it. But I cannot tell you how shocked I have been by the level of sponsorship that has come in and embraced this event. Most of our sponsors pretty much immediately said, yes, no problem. Let me see what we can do. And they stepped up, made a bigger leap than we anticipated, be it with FanDuel TV, First Racing, Del Mar, Thoroughbred Club. You've got Toba, you've got the TOC, Maryland Jockey. You talk about the different coasts. You've got Maryland Jockey Club, Keeneland. So it's been, and I'm sure again, ladies, but IOA Insurance. I'm rattling them all off. If I've forgotten a couple, I apologize. NBC, yes, NBC. So there's just it's just been so. I think that put the wind in our sails when we first started this. Like, as Shona said, we reached out to the community and said, what do you want? And we heard back from the women. And then we're saying, we're going to do this. And then we reached out to sponsors, and the sponsors were like, we're right there. And it's like, whoa, okay. And each time we got, we're right there and we're in, it gave us even more wind in the sails that we are headed the right direction. And this is absolutely needed. Oh, Horonis Racing is another, by the way. Horonis Racing and AJ Stables. Those are a couple other sponsors.
Grand Slam Social.
Grand Slam Social and my racehorse. My racehorse.
You're doing all right when you can't remember all of them.
Yeah,
you gotta sit there and list them for a couple minutes.
So all of
There's a section on the website if anyone's interested.
Yes, we'll throw that up. Yeah.
Katie, what I'd love to do is we touched on our sponsors, but one of the things we haven't touched on are some of our speakers. And that was another amazing thing. Again, with Stephanie Ronis, Jody, Jordan, Shona, everybody reaching out and said, hey, do you want to be this? I mean, these are women. And Stephanie, I would love for you to talk a little bit about our speakers, because everyone else, those women are like, yeah, when do you need me?
How about I ask each of you to go through and each of you pick one panel or one person speaking that you're really excited about. Stephanie, would you like to go?
Yeah, that's a good question, Katie. And that's a really challenging one to answer, to be able to narrow it down to one speaker or one panel, because they're all phenomenal. As I get word of confirmation of the different women that are coming to the table, starting with who Kelly connected us with, our keynote speaker, Susan Packard, and everything that she's accomplished, and also her history with racing, with being the first woman on Churchill Downs board of directors, and just incredible. I'm an HGTV fan, and knowing that she was a part of getting that off the ground, and the incredible books that she's written. So I guess she's kind of like the guiding light on that, with really setting the tone for everything. But yeah, every speaker, our lunchtime speaker, Amy Howe, female president of FanDuel, Yeah, each of our panelists, just phenomenal. Dora Delgado, tough to pick. That's the best I could do to answer that question.
It's a good answer. Does
I'm
anyone
really
else
excited
have
about
picks?
I'm excited about the future of racing panel. Like, I think one of the things we wanted to do, some of the topics that we're talking about will be specific to women, but there's going to be a lot of conversation, if not a majority, about just topics that are important to the industry overall. And everything has a built-in female lens because a lot of it will be discussed by women. But these are big topics for the industry, and I think that growth is one that we always talk about. So having, people like, Lindsay Shanzer from NBC, she's the first female producer of the Triple Crown for NBC Sports. She's just accomplished so much in her time, and she has a lot of experience with working in what's historically been, a male-dominated industry. Sports TV makes sense, right? And having Brittany in, she's, has a lot of exposure in the industry, but I think we all just have so much respect for kind of how she's become a power player within, the on-air talent space. And she comes from a family in horse racing. So she just got so many different, things to pull from in terms of her perspective. So excited to work with her. And then Kelly Hill's going to be one of our panelists as well. And it was so funny because we were, kind of deciding who's going to be the final moderator, and how are we going to navigate this? And I think someone had said, I think Kelly herself. She goes, if you'd like, I can moderate. And we're all like, yes. Everyone just screams it like it was like, how did we not think of this? This is such a great idea. Having someone who has one foot in what we like to call the real world, but also is so connected to horse racing. It's the perfect balance, and so we're so excited to have Kelly moderate as well. So I think the moderators, the unsung heroes, like the moderators, I think are going to bring a lot to the table. So I'm really excited to see what we hear from them.
Agreed. I think, I don't know if I can pick one panel or one person that I'm most excited about. Like, it's definitely like a collective. Obviously, a lot of the integrity on horses and humans is dear to my heart, and I try to do a lot with aftercare and the backstretch workers. So I know Shannon and Kelly just gave like a roundtable speech that's getting a lot of traction, and having that conversation about why do we need these food banks? Like, why can't people on our backstretch be providing for themselves? So, I mean, it's going to be conversations like that that's going to take more than just one person to solve. And even from like an aftercare standpoint, like Jen Reutz, Anne-Marie Moretti, and Bo Derek, and everyone on that panel, like aftercare and these things, I mean, this is how our future is going to be judged. So I do think these are really important conversations to be having.
Something that's been fun when talking to different people about this is that when you rip through the list of speakers, the people go, what, who, you got what? So, and it's somebody different for everybody. So I know one of my male coworkers, when I said Amy Howe, he was like, wow. And I said, I know, we're going to get you a ticket and you're going to come. So men are invited to come. That's the cool thing about the speakers is like, oh, you just like throw in Bo Derek. Like, okay, I mean, it's just another day in California. It's so cool.
The one I'm looking forward to, just to dive in, is, of course, I would almost say, not really my girl crush per se, but more of my holy moly's, how does she know so much? Christina Blackard and the handicapping. Are you kidding me? It's like every time I go to the races, I'm very competitive. So when I lose, I'm not exactly the happiest person. So my husband is actually really excited about this handicapping. So hopefully I won't be so unhappy at the end of the day.
I have a girl crush on Christina for a different reason, though. She is like
She's a superhuman.
working mom. She is like, I'm like, how does she do it? She's got 3 girls.
Yeah.
She is like my gold standard. I just have 1 child, and I'm just like, Christina does it with 3. Come on, Shona, get it together.
Soak it up.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she's just an all-around great human.
I feel like I'm gonna need like an autograph book to bring with me and like, well,
Pretty much.
Find the program.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, Sophia, put a pin in that for next year. What we're going to do is the autograph book.
Got it.
Sophia, what are you most looking forward to?
Similar to Kelly, the handicapping seminar with Christina, but I'm also really excited to see Shona and Jody talk about their real jobs, because I get to see them twice a week on camera talking about the summit. But to see what they do outside of it, I'm really excited to learn.
That's awesome.
So sweet.
All right, so for people that are interested, can someone give me some website details and ticketing information, all that good stuff?
Yes, you can go to our website, www.womeninracingsummit.com. There's plenty of links to tickets on the site. So Sophia can attest to this. We're like, add a button here, add a button here. But if you go to the website, you'll find opportunities to learn more about the schedule. We have a concierge jock that gives you some tips on where to stay and things like that, local restaurants and whatnot. You can buy tickets from there. And then we also have our social media platforms. So we're on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Racing WMN Summit. So you can kind of follow along as we have different news. We'll be posting it there and be celebrating the event. If you can't make it, you can kind of follow along from afar. We'll be tweeting out quotes and capturing some video while we're there. So Grand Slam Social is gonna be present. They're gonna help us share some of the magic from our social platforms.
And then also to add on to that, we are encouraging to pay it forward. And so if anybody would like to sponsor someone that they know would like to attend, but it might not be in their budget, please reach out to us. There's going to be some information coming up on the website soon of how to do that, or you can reach out to us directly. But yeah, definitely we want to help get people there who would like to attend. So if someone knows someone that wants to go, can't afford, please buy a ticket for them. Or if you just want to pay it forward, we do have a running list of people who want to attend, but it might not be in their budget. So we will find a place for their ticket.
And one promotional item, by the way, Katie, is for the first 100 that sign up. I'm going to use my newscaster voice for this, but for the first 100 that sign up, we'll get Susan Packard's book, the one that Jordan referenced about 10 new rules of the game. They'll get that for free along with in their swag bag.
Well, it is obvious that you guys have thought of literally everything, and the time and passion that you guys have shown for this already. I mean, we're not even to the event yet, but it's so evident, and I said it earlier, but your energy is definitely infectious, and it's so encouraging to talk with people like you, and just makes you look forward to events like this. So we said it earlier, but the website, womeninracingsummit.com. Everyone should go check it out. We'll show it here. But thank you all so much for joining me. And hopefully next year we can meet again here and we can be talking about last year's event and be talking about the 2023 Horse Racing Women's Summit as well. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you.